Hey everyone, thanks for joining UGC for B2B today. We have a special guest, Greg Crumpton, who is a VP at ServiceLogic Companies, as well as the self-hosted podcast host of the Straight Outta Crumpton UGC style series that we do through MarketScale Studio. Greg, thanks for joining today. I'm excited to talk about how Straight Outta Crumpton and UGC style content has really helped you tap in to those relationships and thought leaders, as well as speaking into your new book that just came out, Deep Knowledge. So welcome and excited for the conversation.
Well, Matt, first of all, thanks for having me. I love working with you guys. It's been a great partnership, and MarketScale has really been a true partner to me and ServiceLogic. So I appreciate not only the business aspect, but having you as a friend and Tim and everyone there. It's been truly, it's been fun, and it should be fun when we're working, Yeah. If you got to get up and go every day, it needs to be fun. And you guys enable that to really come through. The podcast, I can't believe 150 on the Straight Outta Crumpton, and I don't know how many we've done on Conversations from the Edge with ServiceLogic, but in the dozens anyway. But both of those, first of all, they're cathartic for me because I like to connect with people and figure out what people are thinking. Even if it's maybe a little bit superficial or maybe even some deeper critical thinking. Because you always learn. I learn anyway. I'll speak for myself when I'm talking to people about what they're thinking about, because it may be a topic that's kind of rattling around in my head, but I hadn't just put time to it. And you bring it to life. I read a quote this morning. It's so true that transparency and sunlight brings things into focus, and just putting light on a conversation or a subject can, mean the difference of what people are going to do tomorrow. Part of my job at ServiceLogic is, we all know how we're going to go catch a service call on an HVAC unit in March. We've got that covered, March 2025. We don't know what March 2028 looks like. So part of me and part of my job is I poke and I prod. What's coming? What's next? What do we need to be thinking about? And what are others in our customer base? What are they thinking about so that we'll be ready to serve them? And part of that is the podcast. The intersection of the podcast and the book are interesting because I enjoy both of them. First of all, I never thought I would write a book, but lo and behold, I've got a book. But at 60 years old, I turned 60 earlier this year, there were so many things that I felt like I had been through, both good and bad, that could help some young people not, skin their knees as badly as I did on my way up. Maybe I can give somebody a different way of thinking about something, or maybe it's a what not to do book for other people, which is cool. Yeah. I just think that, I wrote it in a way, 87 chapters and the book's 212 pages. Intentionally designed it that way so you could pick it up and you could read for 5 minutes and put it down. It's not one of those that's going to be a draggy thing. Mm-hmm. Just read it, pop in, pop out. It's non-sequential, non-compounding. So you can read chapter 54 and chapter 2. But I think that where they come together is action and getting people to take action, whether it's in their personal life or their business life. Figure out what you want to do and do something. Don't just wait forever, because this is it, man. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is our only chance at living is right now, and you dang well better do something with it.
Yeah, no, that's something I've always really appreciated from you, whether it be on the business side or a personal side. You've always been up for trying new things, and some of the biggest wins in our partnership have been those things that hadn't been done before, but we had a seedling of an idea and whether it would be, spotlighting these technicians within the industry, or replacing some of the visits back in 2020 with kind of a virtual video visit,
Yeah.
and whatnot. But you really just gotta jump in and throw it at the wall and see what sticks. I've heard you kind of say that before.
Well, Matt, that's what's impressive, I think, about our relationships as companies and personally. You guys are sounding boards. I mean, I know a lot of stuff about air conditioning and electricity, not so much about marketing, but I have these crazy ideas, and as you know, and you can listen to me and say, yeah, that's got some legs, or let's think about something else.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's wacky. But that's the beauty of the relationship, is that we built that rapport. You're confident enough in what you guys deliver to tell me, no, that's not a good idea because of X, Y, or Z. But I'm also wacky enough not to get stuck in the traditional rut of, well, we've always done it this way.
Yeah, and just overthinking and whatnot. And in the realm of, kind of trying new things and whatnot, that's kind of where a couple years ago, UGC really started. It really started on the, we see UGC in the B2C side of things a lot of times, and consumers in our everyday world, but a lot of times those same principles and whatnot, that maybe we were interacting with brands on a B2C side on the weekends. We kind of left some of that at the doorstep when we were entering in our B2B jobs on Monday. But more and more so, we're seeing that authentic content and really tapping into, because like you said, I mean, the amount of knowledge that you have in the HVAC space, and all these people that you bring on as thought leaders in the industry, man, that is just an untapped knowledge base. And people, what we've noticed is, once they really give it a try, people are a lot of times looking for ways to get that knowledge and pass it along to the next person.
Well, that's so important to me, is passing whatever knowledge I may have acquired over 43 years of doing what I do. It's important for me to pass that along to the next generation of skilled worker. But it's also important to me to make sure that I'm taking care to think through the next entrepreneur, regardless of what industry they're in. And that's nothing more than support. You just tell somebody that you want to help them, and think about it. We all do stuff, and sometimes you're at your desk or at home or whatever, you think, man, I could really use somebody that could come in and give me a pointer or two on this topic. And having this electronic mentor, so to speak, is one way to do that. You're providing content that, who knows who we reach, man.
Mm-hmm.
This thing could move what's the Kevin Bacon thing? Four degrees of separation.
Oh yeah, 6 degrees of separation.
So
I think
you never know when you're recording a piece or writing a piece, you don't know who you're going to touch, in what way. So you just have to make an assumption. You want to put good stuff out there. You hope it gets curated and used properly, but at worst case, you made the right effort. And then just one more thing I was going to say on the B2C versus B2B. We're all consumers, regardless. I buy your services, people buy my services, just like we go to the grocery store and buy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what feels good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what authenticity looks like, smells like, sounds like. Why not bring that into our work environment? Because I think people are kind of over polished, super duper, edited. God knows I've got a face for radio. I've been told that more than one time. I'm cool with that. You are what you are. And if we can't be authentic and you can't bring real emotions and real feelings into your work, then it's just kind of fake to me. And I don't like to be fake.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've always appreciated about you. And I think one thing that I'm looking forward to and reading the book about some of these relationships, and because it's got to be really cool, at 60 and looking back at, 40 years of a career, and I know the way you approach your relationships, in your wake, you've left so many people in a better spot. And I know even last week whenever we were talking, you were talking with a guy that you had worked with, I think you said 12 years ago, who sent you a text message, and it speaks volumes of that historical relationship that you've put in place, and that authenticity. And man, it seems to have really, really worked for your career. And I'm excited to be able to tap into some of that in the book.
So first of all, when you said all that, it sounds like I'm really old. So I appreciate that vote of confidence. But I also get asked a lot, like, okay, Crumpton, when are you going to retire? And I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah. Hey, you'll never hear me asking that.
So I did set my retirement date for 2035. So
okay.
I've got 11 years.
Gotcha.
But, I think part of bringing people together and having these conversations is just letting people be themselves, because, I've tried a couple of different things with the podcast, both the ServiceLogic model and the straight Outta Crumpton. I did some testing, kind of my little skunk works. What works better, what flows. And I've really come to believe, Matt, and maybe you either agree with this or you just give me a lot of grace. I don't know which, but the free flow form really works well for what we do, because people don't get so nervous when they get a list of questions that they have to overthink on the front end. Let's just talk. Let's just have a conversation. Tell me about you. How in the world did we wind up here together? Your mom went to school with me or whatever. Just how did we get there? And then really, what is your interest? And people that love what they do always seem to come back to their job, because if you like what you do, and God knows who said this, it's not work, for me. Like some days I forget it's Sunday or Saturday because I'm working, because I'm having fun. And then I realize, I wonder why I'm not hearing from anybody. Oh, it's Saturday afternoon at 3:30. But that's just me. But I think when you bring people together and let them be in their natural state, it's just much more depressurized.
No, I totally agree. And I've been on a podcast or two where you've referenced the amount of knowledge that you've tapped into of, you'll see, I think we were together on site one time, and you were looking out our window up here on the 53rd floor, and you could pick out a condenser on top of some of these buildings, and you were naming the model number. And I could feel the passion, from you on that day. And I think that's what can really create a spark that just catches fire with people. So I appreciate you bringing that passion to work and to the approach to content and education in the industry.
Well, I think that user-generated content is the future. It's what people enjoy. I'll speak for myself. It's what I enjoy listening to if I'm driving or what have you on the podcast. Real life interviews, like man on the street kind of stuff, trade shows, just having that real-time interaction and really getting a feel for what people believe, whether it's education, whether it's work, whatever, everything but politics. Can't talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, anything, any, story from the book that maybe resonates as we kind of wrap things up, or a takeaway, as people are listening and they're maybe they haven't jumped into the waters quite yet of creating content. What would your advice be to those people? Or you're trying to, maybe you are the sole, flag bearer at the company, and you're trying to get other people involved. Interested to hear what's kind of worked for you.
Yeah. So I think that starting with something that you're truly passionate about, maybe it's a motorcycle club, maybe it's a book club. Get some people together, start having some genuine conversations. because when you get people, like-minded people together that do have some passion about something, it doesn't have to be work. Just get people together, get them talking, and let nature take its own course. It'll find its way. Whatever's supposed to be will bubble up if you get the right people in the room and you're having conversations. And you know, I go back to what I started with: action, do something. You know, record a podcast with yourself and practice. Get comfortable looking at a microphone, get comfortable looking at a camera. You know, I've told you this, Matt. I don't enjoy seeing myself on film or on digital video, and I don't like to hear myself talk. But now I'm like, it is what it is, man. I can't, you know, I'm over that worry factor because I am what I am. I can't suddenly change into Matthew McConaughey and become this great guy. I'm Greg Crumpton, and I'm comfortable with that, but I'm able to take what I'm passionate about and share it. But you just have to start baby steps. Write an article and never send it anywhere. Just write an article and do that a couple of times. Start a little newsletter with your service team if you're in the service industry. But action oriented is the way to get going.
Yeah, you know, starting to create that muscle memory, like that idea of just get started, even if it doesn't go anywhere to start, like just get started.
Same way with the book, Matt. You know, when I wrote the book, I had some material from blogs and stuff that I'd written before. So I cleaned up some existing stuff, repurposed it, I believe is the proper terminology for that these days.
Yeah.
But, you know, I cleaned some stuff up. I wrote new stuff, but every day I committed to writing something. And at the end of the show there, I had 512 pages of stuff. And I took it to the designer and they're like, you know, like, first of all, have you gone mad? People, you know, are not going to buy a 500-page book because I wouldn't. I'm a 1-inch book guy. 220 pages, good to go.
Yep.
So what that allowed us to do was really to bifurcate the book. So we got 2 books, and we got this one out now, and I want to make it a book about thinking critically, thinking forward, travel. You ask about it. What are the nuggets? What's the big nugget? Travel. Get out and go somewhere. You don't have to have a passport. Go somewhere in your city if you can't go anywhere else. Go to somewhere in your state, depending on what you can afford to do. But go and meet people. You'll read a story about a guy that I met in Guatemala, spent time with him around the Mayan ruins and the pyramids. And I gave up the hotel and all that stuff. And I went and stayed at his house, and I slept in a hut in the rainforest. So doing stuff like that, as opposed to just taking the easy route, can sometimes lead you to some really golden nuggets.
Yeah, no, that is, that's great. I mean, that's a great teaser. I'm looking forward to really diving in and, yeah, hearing some more of those stories. So, appreciate you taking some time here, joining us on UGC for B2B, and yeah, we'll include the information to your book here in the on the page. And yeah, thanks again, Greg.
Well, thanks for having me. I always love to talk to you, and this is a special treat because I'm getting to do it twice in 1 week. So
that's right.
It's very nice. So enjoyed it. Appreciate everything, and I hope you have a great week.
Yeah, you do the same. Take care, Greg.